Well, here we are, Monday night. It is 6:35. Beth was absolutely on time, calling me for the accountability call, so we liked that very much. Beth Newell, we had her on the Sunday Purge call yesterday, going through her invitations for her top 10 names. We got through 5 of them. We're going to do a couple more invitations tonight. But first of all, what we want to do is to go through what she managed to achieve today with her invite. And I apologize for referring to she in the third person because you're on the line, Beth. Are you there?
Hello. Yes, I am.
Hello. How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. You know, when you do your English accent, you have kind of a northern accent. Lovely means you're from kind of like you're from north, from Yorkshire. They say lovely like that.
I wonder why.
Whereas if you're from the south, like me, I would say lovely. So you've got lovely and lovely. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. The people listening get such an education.
It's the truth. Such the truth.
All right. Let's dive straight on in. How was your day today?
It was great. It was a good day. So I called my first prospect, Verid, the one that I had met yesterday, that she was looking for something. I did have to leave a message for her. She didn't have my number, so I think that was part of it. Just told her, who it was to give me a call back when she got the message. I am going to follow up with her tomorrow if I don't hear. I know her kids were off school today, and the house was crazy, so I think I'm going to follow up with her. That was my first call. But since I didn't get a human on the line, I had to call another one. And so I called Dania, who was my one client, who's a lawyer. She just was laid off, actually. She called me because we had a coaching call scheduled, since she's my client. And so she called, we chatted about it, and since I had the invitation at the end of our coaching chat, I was able to loop that in because I had asked her about, how the job search was going, and she had shared with me a lot about how that was, and it actually went quite well. We have an appointment set up for this coming Saturday at 5:30 with her and her husband, because she said her husband is the one that's always looking for new business ideas, and she wanted him to take a listen as well.
Very good. Okay, and so I'm going to go. I've got a couple of little coaching items on each one, but I was going to let you finish your thing first. So,
you want me to go through the last one?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. So the final one was my buddy Nick Higdon. He was the one who works for the real estate investment firm, and I called him and went through the invitation that we had chatted about last night, and he's completely willing to take a look. I did have a question for you on this one. I scheduled for Thursday at 5:30. He does not have internet where he lives, and so he's going to do it after he's done with work and stay connected to the Wi-Fi. After I hung up, I started to think about the fact that he could just watch it on his phone. His schedule and my schedule don't often match up to meet up, but I wasn't sure if it would have been better to try to schedule it earlier over the phone or if doing it on Thursday was acceptable. So you could tell me what you think.
I'm not sure I fully understand what you're saying.
Okay. So basically, he doesn't have, I asked him when he could be by his computer, so I could walk him through a few things online, and he said that it would have to be when he was at work or after work because he doesn't have the internet where he lives.
Okay.
So I wasn't certain. I've had some people watch it on their phone if they haven't had an internet connection. I never find that it's as good. I don't know. It's kind of messy getting off the phone, having them watch it on their phone and call me back. But anyways, we've scheduled for Thursday at 5:30, and he's just going to stay connected to Wi-Fi after he's done with work.
At work. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. If it's depending on how old they are, I find the younger they are, the more acceptable the phone is. The older they are, they tend to not do that as much. I think that's just a generational thing. Thursday at 5:30 is perfectly fine. You tied down a time. And so, yeah. So do you mind if I give you a little bit of coaching on all three of them?
Love it. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, excellent. You got through to 2 people. You made 2 invites and 2 check marks. You know, we're not in what we're into in the Sunday to Sunday purge call thing. A win for us is someone saying they'll take a look, tying down a time and taking a look. That's a win for us, obviously. So very good. You had 3 calls, 2 wins out of that. That's very, very good. The first bit of coaching with your first call to, what's her name? Is it Very, did you say?
Very, yes.
Very, yeah. When you leave the voicemail, and I'm sure you did this perfectly right, you never give any details what it's about. Just very proactive, very postured. Hey, listen, there's something I need to talk to you about. When you get a chance, give me a call. Not, there's some business idea I want to talk to you about. I've got a project I'm working on. No, just keep it, intentional. Something I need to talk about. Give me a call when you can. Okay, so voicemails are always very, postured, short, to the point. We do have a gradient of voicemails in that if they don't respond after the first, second, third, and fourth, then we deal with it differently. But we'll cover that on a different call should that happen. I have covered that on other calls with other people before. With Dania and with Nick, I guess the question is, Dania, you're getting together face-to-face, correct?
No, it's going to be over the phone. She lives a while away.
Okay, cool. Okay, in which case that solves both of the issues. I was going to suggest if you're going to get together with Dania and Nick, I'm a big fan of 2-on-1s as well as 1-on-1s. The ideal would be a 2-on-1 where you take a business partner along with you, because that will do 2 things: give you some good coaching, but secondly, make the 3-way validation really easy because they're right there. Right. 1-on-1 is a second preference, which is obviously you with her. I know you do a wonderful job, but then you still have the segue of going into the validation call, which I know some people have a challenge with. I actually find it quite easy, but only because I'm so practiced at it. But 1-on-1s, you have to segue into that getting someone else in on the phone. That's a little difficult for some people. But other than that, that's perfect. You've tied down the times perfectly. I've got no. There's nothing you did wrong. You did everything perfectly. You're a very good girl. You get a gold star. Well done.
I love stickers. Thank you.
Okay. Was there any other questions you had on any of those 3 about what to do next?
I don't think so. Normally, I send them just a quick text just to remind them the morning of. And some people don't write them down or won't answer my call because they forget. So I will do that. Additional ideas of how to confirm.
That's a great idea. That's perfect. Yeah, give them a reminder in the morning, then give them a call later on and direct them straight to the website to look at the video. Some people stay on the phone with them during the video. Some people call them back afterwards. I know Regina Gale likes to stay on the phone with them. I don't. I like them to watch it. I make sure they don't have any distractions and stuff. There's a lot of information. Make sure the kids aren't there and turn Facebook off and your phone off. And I'll give you a call back in 20, 25 minutes. The reason being is because Regina will very often keep them on the phone because they may not answer their phone after watching the video, and they don't want to talk to you about it because they have an opinion that it's one of those businesses. If they don't answer the phone, they've done me a favor. They've told me they're a no. I don't care. We only need 3 by 4. We only need 3 good people to join our business. If someone is not going to give me the courtesy of answering my call when I said I would call you in 20 minutes to answer any questions you may have, it may or may not be your thing, and that's fine. So I've given you the way out. If you're not going to answer my call, I don't want you in my business. It's kind of brutal, but kind of across the board, that's kind of the way it is. And some people don't answer the phone. Answer the phone and say, you know what, I looked at it. And that'd be great for some people, but it's not for me. Then that's great. I said, well, yeah, remember I was saying that it's not for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. Was there anything in there that was that you? What was there any particular reason? Yeah, I just don't do these type of businesses. I've had bad experiences, this type of thing. And by all means, if there's an opportunity for a 3-way there to say, well, actually, it's not like those other businesses because there's no products, electricity. There's always ways of overcoming concerns. But I know that some people have that concern when people start watching the video, 20 minutes is up, you call them, and they don't pick up, for days. As far as I'm concerned, you've just done me a nice, easy job of disqualifying you.
Gotcha.
So kind of brutal, but, I've got business to do. I've got 3 people to find. If I fall in love with you and keep calling you and you're not calling me back, then it's stopping me talking to someone who does want to speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's awesome. With a 3-way call, because
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten much better getting people on 3-way calls, but from your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
what type of prospect would you put on a 3-way call? Somebody who has objections, or tell me your thoughts on that.
Okay, first of all, I don't like the word objections. I always prefer the word concerns. And I know it's a semantics, but it's actually kind of important. Objections is more scary to new people, new MCs. If they've got to do training on objections, then I think that's already starting with a negative thing there. Whereas, what I like to call them concerns. So depending on the concern, and it's kind of a little difficult, but if someone, if you speak to Dania, and she says, well, yeah, this looks good, but I'm so busy. If it's a genuine concern like that, then that's absolutely room for a 3-way and say, yeah, you know what, I completely understand. Obviously I'm super busy with my training and with my this and with my that. And I completely get what your concern is. But I do want to make sure I get that concern answered properly. Can you hold on just a second? And then I would quickly speed dial, if I'm on your speed dial, or whoever you're going to have as your speed dial, get them on the call, and I'd say, hey, Dania, we're really lucky we got Richard on the phone. Richard, I work with Richard. He's my business partner. We do a lot of stuff together, and he runs a couple of restaurants, so he's super, super busy. But his ambit business is now out earning the restaurants. So I just wanted to kind of give you some perspective as far as that's concerned, see if it makes any sense. And then Richard, this is Dania. Dania is such and such. She's a great friend of mine, super enthusiastic. Edify her. You then edify me. You've kind of done that by saying I'm a restaurant owner and I'm out earning that with my business. But Richard, over to you. And I'll be like, okay. And then I'll answer that concern. So that's very much a genuine deal. If you have someone, you call them back and they're like super, super negative. Like, oh, my God, what do you do? I would never think you're doing one of these types of businesses. My mom did this business, and she lost all her friends and, really, really super negative.
Yeah.
All these pyramid schemes, they never work and blah, 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 blah. If they're really, really bad, and you go, there's an element of gut reaction to it. I would say, well, I would, especially if I'm not particularly skilled, I would be okay with stepping away and say, well, you had a look at the video and you saw there's some great savings. I know the business is not for you, but Ambit is now almost the second largest retail energy provider in the state. Can I have a look at your bill? I know you don't want to do the business. That's fine. I remember I said it may or may not be your cup of tea, but I'd love to see if I can save you some money on your electricity bill. I let them go. A very skilled person might possibly be able to turn them around, but that's unlikely. And bearing in mind, we only need 3, and most people who are doing this are not going to be super skilled. And someone who's super negative and you trying to get someone else on the phone could get really difficult, really awkward. So if they're really negative about it, I would let them go and say, hey, I'd love you to look at your bill and see if I can save you some money.
Okay.
So that's how I would deal with that. But any other concerns, like, I'm short of money, time is really bad, I'm not a salesperson, all those other concerns you hear all the time, absolutely set them up for a 3-way. So, yeah, absolutely, I completely understand. When I first started, I felt the same way, but I found it was actually kind of different. In fact, I want to make sure I get that concern answered for you properly. Can you just hold on a second?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I do it.
Okay.
So I always do the feel, felt, found. I completely understand what you're saying. I was a little short of money when I first got started. It's kind of hard for me to justify But I've already earned that money back many, many times over. But I want to make sure I get that concern answered for you properly. Can you just hold on a second? So that's what I do. I'll always acknowledge the concern. Yeah,
Okay.
I found that. Whether it's time, whether it's the money, whether it's I'm not a salesman, I don't know anybody, all of those types of things is really truly validate their concern in that it is something that is okay to feel. But what you found in reality was that it actually was not like that at all. But I want to make sure I get that concern addressed properly. Can you hold on a second? And that's how I segue in. It's very simple. It validates their concern enough, but not so much that they can't do the business. And then segue into getting someone on the three-way call. So that's how I would do it.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you.
Helpful?
Yes, very.
Fantastic. All right, so that's all good. So, all right, so why don't we, how far in the call are we? We are, where's my thing here? We're about 20 minutes in. Let's just do one other invite. Have you got someone else on your list we can do an invite for?
Yep, perfect. His name is Morris. He owns his own personal training business. I used to work with him as a fellow coach, and now he's branched off to kind of create more of a brand for himself.
Okay. Is he older than you?
He is, yeah, by about 15 years.
How much older? 10 years?
15 or so.
Oh, okay, great. And you worked for him?
I know I worked with him. He was a fellow coach.
Oh, okay. So he's not a boss. All right. If he was a boss, I was going to go for. And I've started something new. I respect you as you were my boss for a while, and I learned so much from you. I've got something going now that I really appreciate your opinion. You could go that way, or you could go direct and say, look, we worked together before with something. I've got something going right now that I work alongside my training business. I know you have a training business as well. I'd love you to take a look at what I'm doing. It may be something that you would like to do with me. Kind of direct, you've worked with him. I remember you say, obviously if he's a friend of yours, he's a good friend. He's a nice guy. So you could go direct or ask for the opinion. Have you got any preference on that? You know him better than I do.
Yeah, I think we've had more of a direct relationship. I think I could shoot straight with him.
Yeah. I'd love you to partner with me on this. Words like that are very complimentary.
Okay.
We've partnered before on something. We worked well together. I've got something right now that is just going gangbusters in Dallas right now. And we're looking for more leaders just like you. I'd love you to look at this and maybe consider partnering with me on it. It may or may not be your cup of tea. There's a gentle, nice way out. But what are you doing for coffee tomorrow? Or when are you next going to be by your computer?
Okay.
Something along those lines. So again, be in a hurry. Hey, listen, I'm just about to go into training session. He'll understand that. But I've been meaning to call you. Remember, we used to work together. We were partnering together when we were working at that such and such. I always thought we got on pretty well. Well, I've got something going on right now, which is really going gangbusters for me in Dallas right now. And I think it could be something that you're interested in. I'd love you to consider partnering with me on it. It may or may not be your cup of tea, but what are you doing? What time do you get home so you can be by a computer and I'll show you what it's about?
Okay.
Something like that. Kind of friendly. A lot of words in there. This is recorded. Again, if you need to get that. But that sounds pretty friendly. You know him. I think that'd be pretty good. As you say, direct. Sometimes, a direct is very complimentary. I'd love you to consider partnering with me on this.
Okay.
I really enjoyed working with you before. Things like that. Again, the compliments in there.
Okay. Enjoyed working with you. My one question is his wife, who we've met, and I wouldn't say we have as strong of a friendship just because I haven't gotten to know her quite as well. And I always have this question whenever I know one spouse better than the other. What I've found, at least, is, I show it to one, and then they obviously need to, show it to their spouse. They want to get their feedback on it, but it's harder to be as a part of that meeting. I've tried the perspective of, hey, can you give me the opportunity to show it to your husband or wife so they can see it the same way? but that doesn't normally go through for me, maybe because I'm doing it improperly. But how do you handle it whenever you have a better relationship with one or the other? Do you ask if their spouse can be there as well, or what's the best way to go about that?
You know what? In my ambit business, I'm not really worried about it.
Okay.
But in previous employment situations, when I've been more in a sales environment, it's been very much, the husband and wife there. And I do think it's a good idea. I rarely come across an issue where the wife is, super, super against it. And again, I think we can be, I'm not saying be lackadaisical in this business, but we are a little bit spoiled in that we have a great business. We have a very simple product. We're saving people money. Everything's good news. And we only need 3 good people. And so we're a little spoiled in that way. But it might be a good idea to say, look, I know your wife, you respect your wife's opinion. Maybe when you take a look, have her look with you. A second opinion is always really good.
Okay.
So you could do it like that, kind of, if you want your wife to have a look with you. Personally, if you were recruiting me, I don't care whether my wife looks or not. I don't care whether she likes it or not. I'm doing it. And that's not me being selfish or anything like that. If it's something that's not going to take my time away from her, and it's something that I'm doing to improve our married life, to improve our financial situation, I'm going to make that decision. By all means, take a look. By all means. But if this is something I really want to do, I wouldn't ever let my spouse stop me doing it. Now, there's going to be some people on the call who are going, oh, my God, what a bastard you are. I would never marry you, and blah, 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 blah. But, I would, if you were my wife, I'd say, Beth, knock yourself out, girl. If you believe in this, and this is something that's good for us as a couple, then go for it, girl, and I'll support you as everything, even if I don't agree with it. I'd say, look, I'll support you in every way I can. I don't get it myself, but go for it, girl. I love it. But that's just a personal thing, and that certainly doesn't alter how you should approach a new prospect with it. You have to assume that the good thing that they are going to consult their spouse about it.
Okay.
So if you want the spouse to be there, I would say, when are you going to be by a phone? Oh, I'll be at 6 or 7 o'clock or whatever. Well, I know you respect your wife's opinion. If you want her to take a look with you, that's probably a good idea. A second opinion is always really useful. So you could do it like that, very friendly, give them the alternative. But again, with us only needing 3 people, if it doesn't happen, I don't think it's the end of the world. But if you want to do it, and that's the way to do it.
Perfect.
Sound good? Awesome.
Awesome. I think that's fantastic.
All right, wonderful. Was there anything else you wanted to cover at all?
I don't think at this time. I think I have my 2 guys lined up for tomorrow. Hopefully they pick up the call. Now, I do have one question, sorry. Let's say I call, so Carlos and Morris are on my list for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I call them, they don't pick up. Do you leave a message? Or what I've done in the past, because I find people aren't checking their voicemail, me included, very much. What I've done in the past is I've called, they haven't answered, and I've shot them a text to say, hey, give me a call when you get this. What's your opinion? Do you leave a message?
The purpose of the call is to get to speak to them. Mm-hmm. If you get to speak to them, the purpose of that call is to get them to look. So it's 2 separate things. Don't confuse one with the other. So don't think the message is getting them to look. So you don't include, just like you don't include the presentation in the invitation, you don't include the invite with a voicemail message. Correct.
What I've been taught by some leaders, and that's why I'm just seeking clarification, is when you call, if you leave a voicemail, that means you can't call back the next day to follow up. Is that something you worry about, or you just leave a message, say, give me a call back when you get this, I have something I want to chat with you about?
Yeah, this is to get them on the phone so you can invite them.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I give no details.
Okay.
Just very short, straight to the point. And if I was calling and say, hey, Beth, I've been really trying to get hold of you. Give me a call as soon as you get a chance. I've got something important I want to talk to you about.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I might drop a text as well. I think a text is great. Hey, I just left you a message. Check your messages. Been trying to reach you. Whatever it is. I think that's a good idea. I kind of like that, actually. Again, for those who are listening on the call, if you don't get through on the voicemail, that's a nice little thing we can add to the training. Nice job, Beth. Good job.
Oh, you
come up with all the best ideas. I love it. It's like Desiree came up with a great idea. I'd really appreciate your professional opinion. I usually say I really appreciate your opinion, but adding professional is sweet. I love it. So I really like your idea of maybe if you can't get through on the first voicemail, to drop a text as well. Hey, just left your voicemail, trying to reach you. Because I'm much more likely to read a text than I am to listen to voicemail. So good job, Beth. 2 gold stars.
Beautiful. I'm going to stop there and see before you take a gold star away.
Yeah.
I want to keep them.
Yeah, I've got my gold stars. I don't want to lose my gold star. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, lovely. Well, if there's nothing else, then when we do the calls for the purposes of training, they are a little longer. When it's not on the Sunday to Sunday call where everyone's listening in, these tend to be a little shorter, but I do drag them out a little longer because of the training opportunities. But excellent. Today, absolutely perfect. For those of you who are listening, I'd like you to give a nice little round of applause for a very perfect Beth. You've had a really good day. That is really awesome. So tomorrow, same time?
Let me text you about it. Tomorrow I'll still be at work at this time, so let me shoot you.
Okay. Yeah, if we need to change a time or whatever, that's fine. There is a business presentation I'll be at tomorrow. I may be able to step out of it if need be, but I kind of want to try to be near a computer so we can make sure we get this recorded. But yeah, drop me a text with an idea of what time you'd like to do it.
Beautiful. I can do that. Right. Thank you so much, Richard.
Anytime. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.